Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing Comic Uno episode 2, what are we up to? 287, and this week I have about 14 comics, so it's a little lighter than I usually have, so let's get started. I go least favorite to best pick of the week. So number 14 for me this week is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 38. If you guys have been following this review, you guys know I'm a huge fan of this run of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Just haven't been able to get into the characters. I haven't been really liking the mythology they've been building, and that's just continuous here, where I feel like it's very exposition heavy, and I'm just not getting into the story as I would like. But this run is ending, I think, with the next issue, and then I'm super excited to see Ryan Parrott take over for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because I love Go-Go Power Rangers, I love his writing, so I'm excited to see what he ends up doing with the series. So, overall, though, I'm going to give this one 2 stars. Alright, moving on to number 13. So, number 13 for me this week, bit sad to see this low, but Detective Comics issue 1002. Love this cover, though. Really enjoy the Mark Brooks stuff. But, yeah, with this issue, we get to see, I would say, a bit more of an action-heavy issue between Arkham Knight and Batman, and I actually really liked last issue. I feel like they built up a really interesting world for Arkham Knight, but it kind of has dropped in this issue, for me in particular. I'm not as invested in the mystery after this one. Maybe, hopefully by the next issue I'll feel differently, because in the cliffhanger we get to see Damian and Arkham Knight come face to face, and Arkham Knight takes off their mask, so we'll find out who that person is. But yeah, it just felt a bit more of an action-heavy issue, but I did like the artwork a lot. I thought it was really well done, really sleek throughout. But yeah, overall, gonna give this one 2.5 stars, and that is number 13. Alright, moving on to number 12. I have a lot to say about this, so I'm gonna take a sip of water before I get into this one. Alright, get ready. What do you guys think it is? What do you guys think it is? Now, yeah, let's get into it. Number 12 is Heroes in Crisis, issue 8, the penultimate issue of the series. Now, I actually liked Heroes in Crisis going into the series. I thought they did a really good job, but they really fell off in these previous issues, and this issue is the culmination of the whole series. You know, who is the killer? Why did they do it? And wasn't really happy of who the killer was, even though I saw it coming. I literally did a topic video on it on Comic Frontline, so I definitely saw it coming. But I didn't love the motivation. So let's kind of backtrack. This one I'm going to go a little in-depthly compared to some of the other books. But first of all, love the artwork. I think that's something that's been so solid. I mean, with all Tom King books, he gets some really great art partners. But I really think the emotion was told well here. I love the colors, and it's just some great artwork. So that's a big positive. Now, the point of this story, I would say, in a mystery aspect, if I was taking my comic book hat off and just, talking about storytelling, it's actually an interesting concept. We get to see Wally frame Harley and Booster Gold and use the pieces, that way he could trick the greatest detectives of DC Comics, which is Batman and the Flash, and since he knows them so well, he's able to do that. Now, coming from a comic book standpoint, coming from a storytelling standpoint, as a character writer, I don't think the pieces fell together correctly. I think, I like the idea of it, but I don't think it flowed correctly. As, this was very out of character for Wally, in my opinion, where not that he kills someone, because I understand that he was angry, and he does it by accident. It's not like he has a dagger and is like, I'm gonna kill you, It's not that, which was fine for me. So if they wanted to make Wally the killer, I'd be okay with that. But, it's the aftermath of that I didn't enjoy, where Wally makes very much the premeditated decision to frame Harley and Booster. That's the part I thought was very out of character. He is a hero, and I feel like he would take responsibility for what he did, even if he's feeling trauma towards, obviously his family and not having them anymore. So I think that's where it really misses the mark for me, and why I overall didn't enjoy this issue. And I guess overall didn't enjoy this event that had a lot of potential as a mystery, and obviously a psychological story that just kind of missed the mark for me. We'll see if issue 9 I feel differently, but so far I was disappointed with this event. So Heroes in Crisis issue 8 gets 2.5 stars. Now moving on to number 11, which is War of the Realms, Uncanny X-Men. I've been getting some of the tie-ins for War of the Realms because I've actually been really enjoying this event, if you guys have seen my reviews for it. But I'm not getting every tie-in. That's a lot of money, and I don't need every tie-in of the book. But maybe if this is a Spider-Man event, sure, I usually do get all the tie-ins. But, for most events, I don't. But I haven't been reading Uncanny X-Men. I dropped it a little while ago, but I thought, hey, maybe this would be an interesting jumping on point, especially with all the X-Men stuff coming up, so I picked it up. Very much in the vein if you've been reading X-Men, I would say. I would say pick this up if you've been reading the series. If not, it doesn't really add anything to the War of the Realms story. They're just fighting, the creatures. That's what's going on in the issue. I will say I like the artwork, though. I enjoy kind of the darker feel to it. I like seeing Hope here. I guess she's part of the story in Uncanny X-Men. So that was kind of cool, and getting to see Cyclops and Hope have a bit of a disagreement. So overall, though, is it worth picking up as a War of the Realms tie-in? No, so I'm going to give this 2.5 stars, but maybe Uncanny X-Men fans would feel differently. Alright, moving on. Moving on to number 10. This is lower than I expected as well, and that is The Amazing Spider-Man issue 20. I've been liking the variants a lot more than the actual covers. But yeah, this one for me was a bit slow until the end. We get a lot of setup-y stuff of things we kind of already know. Once again, that's kind of been a lot of this event. So we get to see small moments between like Black Cat and Billy, which I actually really enjoyed. That Black Cat is kind of taking the hero stance, and I would even say a motherly stance with Billy. So I thought that was really cool. But then all the other stuff, I feel like we don't get a big impact until the end, where we do find out that these rich people that are taking on the VR are dying and getting killed, and if they're in the VR, they could die, so I thought that was interesting, and that was kind of the biggest part for me, and obviously seeing what Spidey will end up doing about that. I don't think this was the cleanest Ramos artwork either. I guess because we've had some better artists on this title. I'm not saying I dislike Ramos's art. I think it just depends on the arc. And also, I just seen his art so much. I do want to see other artists take on the character. I'd rather see Ramos do something else and expand onto different characters. So, yeah, overall, giving this one 3 stars. I wasn't really blown away with it. It's very exposition heavy, but not a bad issue. Like I said, I think you get some interesting endings, and the character moments I particularly liked the most was Black Cat. And I'm honestly looking forward to her ongoing series because of this, I would say Amazing Spider-Man in general, because I think before this they did a good job with her with Nick Spencer, but this event in particular has been doing a good job with Black Cat. So giving this 3 stars. Alright, moving on to number 9, which is Avant-Guards, issue 4 from Boom Studios. This one, I thought the relationship between Charlie and Olivia, I think her name is, was a little rushed. We get to see that Olivia likes Charlie, our main character, and they end up, hanging out for a night, and sparks fly, which, I definitely is realistic, but I guess in a storytelling point of view, I wanted it to simmer a little bit more. But that's pretty much the issue, is just seeing their relationship, and some of the other girls' relationships as well. So it was fun, but not as much basketball as I would like. I would like them to talk a bit more about that. But there's a good cliffhanger where it seems like the league might just be falling apart anyways. So I was more invested in the cliffhanger and to see where the series goes. But I thought this was a little bit more of a filler issue. And again, the development of the relationship, which was the biggest part of the issue, I think could have been developed a bit more organically, I guess, and not as rushed. So Avant-Guards issue 4 gets 3 stars from me. Alright, moving on to number 8, which is Ironheart issue 5. A really solid series for me, especially in artwork. I love the art for this book. Especially anytime Riri's in the suit. I think it's really action-packed and crisp, and it's exactly the artwork that Riri deserves. So I've been really enjoying it, and I really like her character a lot in this series. And, I always felt like Riri had potential, but just wasn't really hitting the right notes for me when Bendis was writing her, even though I love her first issue, and of course Bendis created this character. But I really like Eve's point of view for the character, and I think does a really good job at creating a supporting cast for Riri, like her mother and this new friend, and even some of the villains being connected to her past, I think is super interesting. So, I will say this is a little bit of a slower issue compared to some others. I think maybe this arc kind of went a little longer than it had to. But like I said, I really liked the character moments. I especially liked Riri and her mother. I think they had some really great scenes here. So overall, giving this one 3.5 stars. And if you haven't given Ironheart a try, I really think this has been the best I've seen of her character, and really hits the potential that she deserves. All right, number 7 for me is Action Comics issue 1010. Love this Francis Manapul cover, which actually was made in 2018, it looks like, so it's kind of a older cover. Anyways, yeah, this issue is a bit more about the Leviathan, whatever the event is called, Alleviation, whatever it's called. So we get to see a bit more, Leviathan. We get to see a bit more of the espionage side of Lois and Clark and them taking on those identities. Once again, it's always a slow burn with Action Comics, though, so nothing like too crazy happens. But it's cool that they're setting up the pieces for it. I like that Kate was here. You know, we haven't seen Kate Spencer in a really long time. Even though it wasn't actually Kate Spencer, it's still nice to see her reference. I know she's going to be part of the actual big event for Bendis, and I'm really excited to see Manhunter again, because, again, it's been a really long time. So, excited to see what they do with that. I like that Lois mentioned her father, and obviously they're kind of estranged, even though things, happen to him, so we'll see where that goes. It's always cool to see Lois and Clark teaming up, but it's a slower issue. Nothing really blew me away. Artwork's always solid, though. Always enjoy the artwork for Action Comics and Superman, but mostly Action Comics. I think especially for an espionage book, I think it was really nice style here. So overall, giving this 3.5 stars, kind of forgettable, but not a bad read. Moving on to number 6. And this is Fantastic Four, issue 9. If we had more consistent artwork, this definitely would have been my top 5. I just didn't really like the main artist. It felt really sketchy to me. I didn't really like the detail. I really couldn't get the detail in their face very much. It just, a lot of dots with the line work. Not my style. So, and also just didn't feel completely rendered. Just not a big fan of the art. And then we have multiple artists on the book, so it's just like, it's a lot. And I just wish it was a bit more consistent. But the story was really solid. We get to see on the flip side, Franklin, and really just Franklin, finding this girl who ends up like taking these demons and releasing them. So that was fun, and ends up saving the day for the actual Fantastic Four. And then the Fantastic Four dealing with Dr. Doom and Sue just being a badass and them working as a family, which I loved about this issue. Then once you get to the Galactus stuff, I'm like, I'm over you. But I just like, the family acting as a family and them finding strength within each other. And I really like the monologue and dialogue between these characters to show that. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, the artwork kind of brought this down a little bit for me. So overall, giving this 3.5 stars. But I've been enjoying Dan Slott's voice for Fantastic Four, more than anything. So I've been enjoying that. Moving on to number 5, which is Batgirl, issue 34. I love this cover. I believe this is also a Francis Manapul cover, and the colors are just wow here. So cool cover. Story is okay for me. We get to see, I think, some interesting moving parts between Barbara and her father after James Gordon Jr., the whole situation. So Barbara's still upset. Her company is not doing very well, and she also has to fight against these animal creatures. So that's gonna be fun. And there's also other stuff going in the background, like what's Bard's motives? Does he like Barbara? What's going on there? And then by the end of the issue, Barbara gets herself into a pickle. And she's upside down, probably gonna die. We know she won't, but how's she gonna escape? So that was pretty cool. But overall, it was an okay issue. I don't think it's the strongest of Batgirl, but I always have fun with the series. Artwork is always super solid, and I do like the small parts of the overall story. Where these characters are going is always interesting to me, and there was some interesting development there, even if the plot itself wasn't the strongest. So Batgirl issue 34 gets 3.5 stars, and that's number 5. Moving on to number 4. I'm going to take a sip of water before we get into it. And number 4 is Jughead, The Hunger vs. Vamprionica, issue 1, a book I was really anticipating this week, and a pretty solid beginning. I will say, though, it's definitely more in the line of Vamprionica, so if you really like Vamprionica, this is the issue to read. If you only really like Jughead the Hunger, there's not much of it, but it is the creative team of Jughead the Hunger writing Vamprionica, which is cool. But we get to learn how is Vamprionica still a vampire, and I thought that was pretty cool, and it's slightly convenient the way they do it, but it made sense. It's like, all right, she always was a vampire. And I like the small moments with Veronica where she's like, yeah, I always had my fangs still, but like I still didn't think I was still a vampire. So that was fun, and we get to see the parents as a vampire still. And the way she finds out is that Dilton, like, cuts himself and says, hey, you know, if you don't want my blood, then we know you're not a vampire. And she goes all vamp on him. He's like, all right, you're still a vampire. So I like that. The artwork for me, I always like Joe Eisman's artwork. But I will say the coloring, meshing, the art style or the coloring style of Vamprionica didn't quite work for me in the art style of, or pencils of Jughead. Felt a little weird, but I think I could get used to it as we actually get to see Jughead characters. But yeah, that's the thing that was disappointing, is that we didn't actually get to see, you know, much of the hunger aspect. But I like the Vamprionica stuff I got, and overall super excited to see the rest of this event, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna give this one 3.5 stars, and that is number 4. Moving on to number 3, which is Smooth Criminals, issue 5. Such a solid read. I love this dynamic between these two characters. It's just fun, and we get to see one of our main characters, you know, the one who doesn't really have a lot of friends. She has a crush on this girl on the internet. She doesn't really know what to do with these feelings. You know, the spy character, the thief, she says, hey, you know, you should go out and try to hang out with this girl, meet her. And our main character, who does like this girl, doesn't really know how to, get these feelings out. And it kind of puts a strain on the two girls' relationships, our main characters. So that was interesting to see that they kind of want to work separately, but at the same time they see, hey, like, we have to work together also to get these jewels. So we'll see where their friendship ends up going. But I liked it. I thought it was a really solid read. I just love the dynamic between the two. I think they have a really awesome friendship. And, some of the 90s references of like, hey, you could be like a Tomb Raider character, I thought was cool and fun. So really solid. Artwork is always solid as well, too. I really like the style, and just really excited to see where this goes. Always a really fun read, but also a nice character-driven story as well, because you want to see where this friendship ends up going. So 4 stars for me, and that is number 3. Moving on to number 2, which is Dial H for Hero, issue 2. Not a disappointing issue at all. Glad to see this was a good issue 2, where we get to see Miguel and Summer on the run, and Miguel's like, I don't want to do this. I want to just go home. Why does everyone want this phone? And then he ends up using the phone again, and we learn that there's other Dial H users that want this phone very badly. So what's going to happen here? And I thought that was really cool. So, and one thing I really love is just how they bend genres here, where we get to see 2 different manga styles in here. Kind of, I don't want to say Dragon Ball Z, but I know there's like a monkey type character in Dragon Ball Z, so maybe Dragon Ball Z style, but obviously there's other mangas like that as well. And sorry, I think I just hit my microphone. But then we also have the more of the mecha style, which was really cool. It actually says like DC Comics manga, yeah, on the top over there with the older DC Comics symbol. So I had a lot of fun with this. I like Summer and Miguel. I like their characters. I like his monologue, and that he's this hero that doesn't want to be a hero, but everyone else is obsessed with the Dial H. But maybe that's why he deserves the Dial H. And I also like that we kind of take away the layers of Summer and kind of learn more about her character as well, and exactly why she wants to run away. So really interesting stuff. I'm really enjoying it, and it's a mini-series. I'm upset about that because I would love this as an ongoing, but I also think maybe it'll be a really solidly paced series because it's a mini-series. So yeah, Dial H for Hero issue 2 gets 4 stars. Very, very fun story, and I hope it stays with this consistency. Moving on to number 1 for me, which is Runaways issue 20. Love this cover. Carolina just giving given a big ice cream cone to Gru, I think his name is. Don't remember his name. The monster from the Giborium, or Gib, that's his name. So yeah, the cool cover. This issue, I will say, is a little slower than some of the other ones. It's very much taking a peek at everyone's lives. So Carolina's dealing with, oh my god, I haven't been to college in a while, and that's like, you know, not doing well for my relationship with my roommate, or actually going to college. She might not graduate, or, you know, still be enrolled. So that's interesting. I do think that kind of ended very abruptly, but because there was just so many short pages with it, but I did like the scenes a lot. And then you have Molly not wanting to go to school. That's really out of character for her, so what was she gonna do? But the biggest story here is with Victor, which was why really this issue became pick of the week for me, is that Victor is still dealing with all the traumatic experiences he has, and really for him feeling like he's a villain and not wanting to be that. And he ends up, it looks like, committing or trying to commit suicide by the end of the issue, where he's just done and he puts his head in water. So what's going to end up happening there is a really emotional scene. So, and the artwork is just so solid. I do like it's a bit more cartoonier than Chris Anka's art, so it's a bit different than his art, but the artist does a really good job at still showcasing Anka's style, so it's not jarring by any means for people who've been reading the series with Anka and now jumping onto a new artist. I've been really enjoying that. So, overall, I thought it was a really solid issue. Again, there's some slower parts in the character building, I would say, but it's cool that we still get to see those glimpses in their day-to-day life. So I kind of enjoyed that aspect as well, but the biggest moments for me definitely being with Victor. So overall, giving that 4 stars. That is my pick of the week. Let me know in the comments below what are your favorite comics, your least favorite comics, and everything in between. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there are links for my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter, and also They Call Her Dancer. And every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time is Frontline Live, where we discuss our favorite comics and comic book news. So be sure to check that out as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Bye.